Hey there, thanks for joining us at the Rabbit Hole of Research, where you'll learn a few facts that you can impress your friends with at a party. Hey, welcome back to the Rabbit Hole of Research, down here in the basement studio for the mini. That's right. You've got me, Joe.
Yeah, I got Nick.
We've got Nick.
Georgia.
And we've got Georgia. Hope we're all who we say we are. We're not connected to each other by the hive mind.
Listen, we all know you would be the first show.
I would not. I said that. So
I don't think anyone said they wanted to join.
No one said they wanted to join. That's right. Unless I could be the king. It was a eusocial hive with the queen king model. So
I mean, they might just make you think you're the king, and once you're in, you don't know.
That's what you think. But yeah, we talked on episode 68.
He just ignored you today.
It was about because they're not in the same.
You know, it happens often.
We don't share consciousness.
I'm used to
it. Episode 68, we had Wes Thorn with us, a return guest. He was on the simulation hypothesis episode 26, I believe that was. And then he came back to talk about the hive mind and everything that the good and the bad that went along with it. So it was a lively discussion.
It was
very interesting. It was hard for some to wrap their mind around the idea of giving up their individualism. And
I think it's hard for anyone to wrap their mind around that.
Yeah, I guess that's...
I think I'd be more afraid of someone who was easy to give it up. Like,
right.
Well, maybe not give it up, but the thought experiment of it all. So that was very
maybe if you just don't think about it that much, then it's not going to...
I don't know what you're trying to say.
Ignorance is bliss.
Yeah, there you go. So you might already be part of the hive. Who knows? Part of the Nick hive mind.
Yep. I mean, yep.
The hive. It's the hive of one.
So any corrections or anything you guys want to rehash?
I have no corrections because I was right about everything. Always.
That's because you're part of the hive. Now, have you watched some of the Pluribus on Apple TV?
Guys, I got a few episodes in and I got bored. Yeah. I jumped off. I don't know what it was, but it just wasn't clicking for me right now. I started watching other things on Apple TV. Yeah, so like I'm getting my money's worth of Apple TV. I'm making sure I watch things.
I like the show.
But,
I loved it. It didn't take super long, but it did take a little bit. And then once you're like, whoa, it's really...
it moved pretty fast for Apple Plus. They usually, some of their shows can drag along and you're waiting for something to happen. But I thought that one, it started right out the gate. Intrigued by what the signal and then some poor lab
I think part
safety.
of my problem is that I broke it up in so many parts. Might have just lost its charm for me, but I'll give it another shot.
It's interesting that there's several Facebook fan groups and stuff, and it's just interesting to think about social media and big fans of that show, almost like a hive mind, but it's not really a hive mind because people argue constantly in the comments about stuff. But it's just an interesting another fandom and.
Yeah, so Nick had talked in the episode about echo chamber being one of these things. So that's exactly what you're describing. Getting into this, people didn't get into the social media mindset, and then the echo chamber kind of amplifies certain messages and suppresses other ones. So you kind of shout them down. So yeah, it was good. Go listen to the episode, give it a listen, and see where you fall at. Did you join the hive?
Right. I think it is very fascinating, just the idea of individuality versus collective culture or whatever. And Alex, one of the things he mentioned was talking about different cultures and especially
there was a comment on the episode.
A comment on Substack on the episode, but especially immigrants, certain immigrants when they're going from one culture to another. And one of the biggest things is how some cultures are very much like in America, we really focus on individuality. And then other cultures really focus on the social, you know what I mean? Collective aspects. So I think that is fascinating.
Yeah, speaking of Alex, he had some nice comments on the episode. Just go check them out on YouTube or Substack. I think he posted some different comments. But the one book he had mentioned was The Hidden Life of Trees, what they feel, how they communicate, discoveries from a secret world. So that was...
I mentioned that book to you before.
You might have, yeah. So, but he mentioned that. 'Cause in an episode we talked about, do trees and plants have consciousness as we think about it in the human... So we always think brain, nervous system leads to consciousness, but plants have neither one of those. As described, we talked about the interstitium space, I think a mini ago or a couple minis ago, and that was really fascinating.
I lost track of them.
Yeah, no, they're starting, there's science moves. So, but maybe that's a nice segue into the science holes.
The science hole.
Let's go down the science hole. And see what we can find.
I would like to agree with Georgia with this one and say no.
Let's leave it to the fans. What do you guys think?
We will. Let me say yes to talking more about some science. No to that jingle.
That.
You're right. You guys, I just have one thing because we are doing this a little early, but I had one that was interesting and maybe tethered to the episode. But you guys, what do you have?
Did have a follow-up to the one that you talked about before, the underwear.
Right.
And I think I sent it to you, Joe, about the underwear that guy created because his wife had Crohn's disease and she was farting so much.
Yeah.
And he was thinking he might have to leave his wife, but then he made these underwear that had filters.
Okay.
What?
I don't...
All right.
Yeah, right. So you're referring to the mini about the smart underwear from the digestive disease conference that had sensors in it to help monitor how often someone may pass gas, even unaware that they're passing it, to help get a better understanding of their gastric kind of issues.
Now you say, how is this science, this guy? But he invented this certain thing, and he got it patented and everything. I mean,
sure. All right, Nick.
So I was reading an article that someone or scientist is bringing back a bird from Australia, an extinct one, and it is a newly hatched chick from Colossal Biosciences.
Oh, right. Yep.
Artificial Egg Project. I was reading that and I was like, I find it so interesting that we are actually doing that stuff, bringing things back from extinction.
Yeah,
we are rapidly destroying stuff from bringing things to extinction. We got the opposite effect as well.
Yeah, that Colossal Biosciences, they did.
I feel like we talked about them before.
They did a dire wolf. That was their project, and they're bringing back these extinct, using artificial eggs to resurrect extinct animals. That's their...
I want to know what's going on with them out after they're here. How are they adapting to our current world?
Yeah, that's an interesting question. I don't know if they've discussed that a lot. I think it's really that they're showing that they can do I think the bird was from New Zealand. It went extinct like 600 years ago, if I remember this.
Can you imagine just suddenly getting brought back? Hey,
I don't know if you, you don't know you actually went extinct. So I think that's also
true.
That
like
would be.
Nick's saying, do you have a habitat? Do you know what I'm saying?
Right. Yep. Is there the habitat that they lived in?
The conditions are different, and even just what's in the air. It's completely different from what they had before. Did they do anything to help them adapt to the world that we live in? I don't know.
Right.
It's always stuff I'm like, wait.
I believe it was called, quickly looking up, the moa. It was a giant extinct bird from New Zealand that was hunted to extinction by the Maori people. I think it's a little bit of proof of concept that they can do this genetic engineering to what they call de-extinction science, to bring back animals that went extinct back to life. So
do you think that they could bring back the fireflies? Because they're on the brink of extinction too, aren't they?
I don't know that.
Or is that not a thing?
I think they're definitely decreasing, like a lot. Like
Well, because we keep putting stuff out that kills things in our grass, and just lawn care in general is not great for the environment. And
no, I think that's the process is that they're looking at closest living relatives, and then with CRISPR technology, modifying the closest living organism's genome with genes that they've sequenced from genetic material that they've isolated from these extinct animals.
But when they actually create this organism, it's not really the organism that went extinct. It's the organism mixed with another organism.
I mean,
right?
You might be splitting hairs, right? Because, no pun intended, but you do have this idea where you are the shipathesis, where you replace enough parts, do you still have the original ship, or is it something
also,
different?
But also, look at the butterfly effect. The smallest thing can have a huge effect. So maybe it's like, it's very tiny, the difference between, but maybe it would have a huge effect on what actually the outcome is. No? Do you know what I'm saying?
I guess, yeah.
No, you don't.
No. I mean,
I can see
understand
his face and he just
you mix
like
so the butterfly effect that's a totally different. I mean, I get the small changes bit of it, but I'm trying to conceptualize that. No, not. You should never mind it. We can unpack it because it feels like you're asking about genetic, almost epigenetics, and different modifications of genes. That would you still get the original? So the organism that lived 500, 600 years ago was under different environmental stressors, and that would turn on and off different genes. And is that information still passed on to the new creation and have that type of control and things like that? I'm unsure of that because I think the epigenetics would be imprinted by whatever species they're taking it from now and trying to modify to get back to this kind of other species. So like with the dire wolves, I think they took the closest wolf apex predator and then modified that to its genome to give something that would be a dire wolf technically. Did you get all the genes? Did you get 100% of the ones?
Do another episode of this.
Yeah, I think it's, I mean, right. We talked about doing one on CRISPR and gene editing and getting someone, a research scientist.
If we can get someone from that lab, would be peak.
We don't need
I
don't think we need Colossal Biosciences. I mean, if we get somebody, great, but we can get any researcher that's using CRISPR technology and gene editing who might not have IP tied in. So that might be even more interesting because if it's IP related and they're trying to sell a product, right, that you probably will get their story, but we may not get the real heart of the science. So bringing someone in who does CRISPR and uses this technology for gene editing might be fascinating. Maybe season 4. We'll put a pin in it and do that. But let's just come 100%. Up. I think it's fascinating with CRISPR and what you can do because this then leads from not only extinct animals, but then human editing and genetics and, are we getting to Gattaca, right? And Brave New World. So all these are really fascinating. So it's interesting. But no, that's a great story. I did see it and I kind of read over it because they're talking about creating an artificial egg, which leads into, I think we talked about doing an episode on artificial wombs and that process. So very cool. Yeah, that one's neat.
What story do you have for us today, Joe?
Yeah, so very related to the Hive episode. Usually it doesn't always work out this way, but there was a New York Times article that I read. It was about vegetative patients may be more aware than we know. And the New York Times article was following a woman. Her husband had type 1 diabetes, failed to take his insulin, and his brain swelled up, and then he went in a coma. And you go in, and the doctor's like, well, you're going to make decisions. Do you want to keep him on respirators, feeding tubes, or do you want to pull the plug? So it was this really complicated story where you're trying to care for someone who may never wake up and be in his coma. And do you want to give them a quick death or elongate it and then make the decision months, years later when nothing happens? And so this woman had read this article about the cognitive motor dissociation and disorders of consciousness. And that's a mouthful. It came out in 2024 in the New England Journal of Medicine. And the abstract essentially was patients with brain injury who are unresponsive to commands may perform cognitive tasks that are detected on functional magnetic resonance imaging. We talked about that episode where that measures changes in blood flow that occur with brain activity. and electroencephalography. EEG measures the electrical activity in different parts of the brain and records that activity. So these phenomena, known as cognitive motor dissociation, has not been systematically studied in large cohorts of persons with disorders of consciousness. And so that's what this study went out to do. And they concluded that approximately 1 in 4 participants without an observable response to commands performed a cognitive task on fMRI or EEG as compared with 1 in 3 participants with an observable response to commands. So they were seeing this kind of signal that people who seem to lack consciousness in response to commands, actually on a brain level, they were responding. They were actually having the same movements or thoughts or brain activity as if they were performing the activity. And so this kind of raises this question that when someone is in this coma, unconscious state, or has a consciousness disorder, then are they truly, quote unquote, brain dead? Or should we be doing other studies trying to interrogate what they're thinking and if they're actually having true cognitive brain activity, but just can't physically demonstrate that? Because in this article, it was talking about how the doctors, well, they squeeze your hand, it's just a reflex. They look at you, they're not really looking at you because they can't really see, they can't interpret optical signals. So it was a really interesting article, and I'll put the links to the article about the woman's story and her husband and this kind of.
So what did she decide?
So actually, after she read the article, that made her think that did they do all the testing that they could to prove if he had consciousness or not. But she learned just in the process that once you're labeled a quote unquote vegetable and sent to a nursing home, then they don't really do a lot of work and studies and tests to see if you have consciousness. So we went in, and then eventually she would go visit and try to stimulate him and try to hope that he comes back, because if he still has this consciousness level, you have a hope then. But they saw that his brain size was getting smaller, so he was having an atrophy of the brain and things like that. And then I think 2 years later at the nursing home, they went in and checked on him. He didn't have a pulse and passed away. And so she always just feels, she was talking about how did she do everything she could have? If she understood this process, they understood that people in this conscious disabled state could have consciousness, but you just can't measure it by physical activity or by looking at the physical kind of output that we associate with a conscious response to a command. You still could be active, and maybe there was other treatments, maybe there's other processes she could have done. And so it was just one of those things that she just was
So it's really that not a lot is known.
Yeah, right. No, I mean, this was like one of the first, that paper was one of the first, and it had about 200 patients or so that were examined by the various methods. I meant EEG and the functional MRI.
And then you wonder
that was it, so.
If they did register some kind of consciousness, does anyone in that group then go on to actually regain consciousness as we know it? I'm curious what kind of follow-up.
Yeah, interesting. I mean, right. But if you get labeled as this vegetative state, which probably most of the people in the study were probably labeled as that, then your treatments and even testing doesn't happen. So the question would be right, exactly. So the question is, what if you actually stimulate it and try to reactivate this person, like with kind of contact, with reading or visits?
All right, so correct me if I'm wrong, though. Isn't this a movie trope? Don't we see this in movies pretty often?
Such as a person wakes up or?
Yeah, from a coma.
I mean, yeah, that people can wake up from a coma. I think there's different types of comas, right? And different types of unresponsive states that people are in, but still exhibit brain activity. And I think that's different in these cases where you're ruled brain dead, essentially. No observable brain activity, and that you're in a vegetative state. You don't have any conscious response to outside stimuli.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
But you're right. That does happen. And actually talking, all I can think about is Kill Bill. And which is,
well, I was thinking of like,
yeah, but you do have,
Stranger Things.
That's right.
Max
Stranger Things. Yeah. I thought, that one came to mind also.
Yeah.
And he was talking to her and playing the radio, and she was having responses, like kind of emotional responses to his voice and different things he was saying. So, but then they tethered that to the mirror world that was happening. But no, yeah. No, it's exciting. I mean, that's like I said in the episode and this study here, there's so much we don't know about consciousness and how that works.
I think when you think about how people communicate their thoughts, we're kind of limited in, speech or writing something down. Or I guess also sometimes it's like eye movements and things like that. But I think there's probably a lot of times where people are almost like, and I know this is a real thing, like you're almost like paralyzed and you're not able to make any of those. You know what I'm saying? Like you can't communicate, but you are there and you know what's going on. And that's just like such a scary thing because they are aware and do know, but can't communicate it. I don't know if that makes.
Yeah. After one of the things we talked about in the episode was the noetics. An idea of non-localized consciousness. And so in the study where you're trying to study people's consciousness when they don't respond to commands, if you have this idea of non-localized consciousness, are they tuning into this? Are they still be able to tune into this non-localized consciousness? And is that what you're recording? So it opens up. I mean, it's really fascinating when you think about it. And so it was very timely, that article came out. I think it was relatively close to when we recorded the Hive Mind episode. So
that's funny. I love that happened.
Yep. Cool.
But
great conversation. Thanks.
Yeah. So what media have you guys been consuming lately?
Yeah, we started watching Burrows on Netflix. That was really good.
The Duffer Brothers.
Duffer Brothers are back with the new series. Kind of reminds me of a Cocoon a little bit. We're still early in, about halfway in, but
I can just barely remember Cocoon. And so then I said, we should watch Cocoon, but then it's almost impossible to find. We did end up finding
Mandela Effect.
The trailer on YouTube, but it's like, what happened to Cocoon? It doesn't come up on the searches. But
had to get it to the library, probably.
I'll look that up.
Yeah.
I'd actually like to watch that original.
So Cocoon was older folks who find
it's the alien
youth,
related?
But the alien fountain of youth, let's say. But so really interesting.
And Nick, have you heard of that, Cocoon? Have you seen that?
Yeah.
Or?
Yeah, I've seen it on, it was a Sci-Fi Network?
Yep, that's
okay. So you might have seen it more recently than I have.
Yep.
Because it's been really long. I can't. Yeah. And then it made me think of that batteries not included.
Yeah, which I don't know if that's
that looked like
similar.
But there was that run of all those alien movies around the same time as E.T.
And what is battery not included? Why do I remember that?
It was like an E.T. knockoff. I don't know. It had the same.
It had this little miniature spaceship.
Yeah, and they was lost. He had to get back home. And so they were, it's been so long since I've seen that. So I don't want to tell you what it is, and it wasn't. So
is it like, what's that other one, Mac and Me or something?
Please don't tell anyone to watch Mac and Me. No,
I think everyone should be watching Mac and Me.
No, don't
Mac
do
and
it.
Me is a great film that deserves more credit than it's ever been due.
I've watched it for you, so you don't have to.
Oh my gosh!
I took one for the team.
Anyway, we're running down a different route.
Very much suggest people watching
I must move on. We went and saw Mando and Grogu.
What?
Mandalorian.
I know. But how do you say Grogu?
Grogu. Mando and Grogu. What's his name?
What is going on over there?
I don't know.
Grogu?
Grogu. I keep saying that. Why do I keep saying it 50 times?
I think you said it differently.
I said Grogu.
Grogu?
You're saying it weird.
You are saying that weird. We say it.
Grogu?
Oh, Grogu?
Yeah, it has a GR.
Oh, Grogu. Okay, I don't know. Baby Yoda. I want to call him Baby
Yoda.
Yoda.
He is not Baby Yoda.
That's what he's been
Then
called.
you're going to get all those Star Wars people upset with you.
You know what? That's what they nicknamed him, Baby Yoda.
Okay,
so
all I want to say is this a spoiler to let people know that Pedro isn't out of his mask for only 5 minutes?
He's a Mandalorian, and that's not the way.
That's part of the story.
I know. But I'm just got to let people know.
Little distracting, But no, it was good. I thought it was, it felt like
it was good.
It felt like a couple long episodes put together and told the story of their adventures, tracing down Empire, Fugitives. And it was good. Yeah, it was exciting. If you like video games and John Wick, that's what you get. You'll get a lot of him fighting different things.
That's good.
Yep.
Yeah.
And some spaceship battle. You'll get your money's worth if you go check it out. So, but
yeah.
No, still, I think we're almost close to the season finale of For All of Mankind. So that's coming up. And then we're watching
Widow's Bay.
So that one's also
about
midway through.
I did start watching.
Yeah.
I think I'm, 2 episodes in? 3 episodes in?
Yeah. We're not too far.
I think we're caught up to where they are.
We're right at
released.
because they are releasing every week. So we're right at the edge of episodes.
What about you, Nick?
We've been watching Widow's Bay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so we've been watching that. And then we started watching the new Apple TV show, Maximum Pleasure Guaranteed. It has, I'm going to butcher her name, Tatiana. She's the one from She-Hulk.
Okay.
Oh, okay. Yeah, right. Okay, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a pretty good show. We are 3 episodes in. I think it's coming out every Wednesday.
Is it a comedy or?
It's a mystery thriller. It's what I put it under.
Okay.
I would highly recommend it. It's a fun show.
Nice.
It's not hot, but it's like, oh shit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Oh, good.
That is good. Yeah. I'll check that out.
I started playing Borderlands 4 and I just picked up Death Stranding 2. So I'm just about to start that, which is another really weird game by Hiro Kojima. And I heard nothing but good things about it.
Oh, awesome. Something that in the episode, the Hive Mind episode 68, and I mentioned it in the newsletter, the email newsletter. People want that. They should subscribe because it is fun, packed with goodies. But the one thing is the episode, I don't think you didn't mention any video games, Hive Mind video games. So I was like, come on, Nick.
I honestly didn't even think of it.
Yeah, I know. We went down so many rabbit holes that when I listened back and I was editing and getting things into show notes, it was like, there was no video game mentions.
So now he's putting you on the spot.
I know, I'm trying to think of it now. But yeah, I'll have to get back to you on Hive Mind games because I can't really remember any right now. Like, I know I've played some.
You have homework.
All right. Yeah, well, so you got me, Joe.
You got Nick.
We've got Nick.
Georgia.
We've got Georgia.
And we went down some holes.
And we're still us. Stay safe out there. Stay curious. Stay you.
Bye-bye.